Christy, I'm wondering if you would be interested in being my Homeland Security Secretary. You know, would you be willing to do that? And I said, yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, I'll do a very good job. He said, okay, I'm excited. Thank you. We had a nice conversation, hung up, you know, and Howard stood up and congratulated me and hugged me, and all of that was done. And we talked, but then when we left that evening, I got back to my hotel room and I called my husband and I said, well, this was weird how all this just happened because, oh, and the president said on the phone, he said, where are you tonight? I said, I'm in Palm Beach. He goes, you're in Palm Beach? What are you doing in Palm Beach? And I said, well, Howard called me to come down here. And he said, Howard called you to come to Palm Beach? And he said, well, where are you now? I said, I'm having dinner with Howard. And he goes, put me on the phone with Howard. He said to Howard, why are you having dinner with Kristi Noem? And Howard said, well, you finally picked a good-looking cabinet secretary, so I'm not a dummy. Me and my son took her out for dinner. But what I told my husband that night on the phone is I said, here's what was interesting about that experience for me was that I feel like God facilitated that whole day because I went to Mar-a-Lago and I had to see what every other cabinet secretary had to go through to get a position. I had to see how they were interrogated, how they had to be prepared for their position that they were going to be taking on and everything. And then God said, but I'm not going to make you do that. It almost felt to me like it was God confirming to me how strong he had placed on my heart that this was the job I was supposed to have. He wanted me to know what was required of everybody, but I'm not going to make you do that. This is something that you're going to do because I have the confidence you can do it. And the president had the confidence to give it to me. So it was a very special day for me.
Amazing. So I loved it. The first week after you were confirmed, you're dressed up so cool, going up, busting up the illegal aliens up in New York, then heading down to the border while let's see, who is that secretary? Oh, Alejandro Mayorkas. You know Alejandro Mayorkas? The guy who sat behind his desk that I don't think even barely visited the border? Yeah, loser. So here's the deal. You've got Secretary Noem. She goes out nonstop. Tell us about what you saw as you were going to New York when you went to the border. Tell us what you saw on the ground.
Well, I don't believe I can really know what my agencies are doing unless what I know what the people on the front lines are doing and what they go through every day. And frankly, for the agencies in Border Patrol and in ICE, TSA, all these different agencies, I have FEMA, we have a huge recruitment issue, especially in Border Patrol and ICE. The morale is at the lowest it probably had ever been because you had people that signed up for a job that weren't being allowed the last 4 years to do their jobs.
Right.
So for me to go there and spend time with them was important. But the morning that we went to New York City, I left my apartment at 1:30 in the morning, went to the airport, got on a flight, got to New York City. We had a briefing at 3 o'clock with about the 75 to 100 enforcement officers that were going to go out and run ops that morning. And these were different agencies partnering, the DEA, ATF, ICE, HSI. And we were going out and we had warrants on quite a few people, but they were very dangerous. People that had warrants for murder, assault, drug, and human trafficking. And we're going to be going out. And the reason that we were going out at night was because that's when people were off the streets. It would be safe situations.
Right.
They would be at home, and we'd be able to go sweep them up and take them in and be able to process them and get them incarcerated. So what was interesting to me was, you know, we got there and immediately the HSI officer said, do you want to get in the Bearcat with us to go do this operation? I said, absolutely. Like, yes, I do. And they said, and then I have Secret Service detail, and they said, no, she's not. And I go, yeah, yes, I am. They said, no, we recommend, ma'am, that you not get in there because that's just not safe. And so when they were visiting with somebody else, I got in the Bearcat with the HSI guys and got in the front, and we went out to do the op. But what was interesting to me is how professional these individuals are. and how much they were working to get these bad people out of these apartments that were filled with people who were trafficking drugs and human beings. We were in the Bronx. They were operating with professionalism. I had spent probably several hours the night before on the phone with the mayor of New York City, with NYPD, trying to get them to facilitate some backup for us.
Right.
And a lot of phone calls talking to people that, frankly, they said they'd never heard from the Secretary of Homeland Security before, much less did they dream they would have a secretary helping to coordinate the safety of law enforcement officers. But this is what I think everybody needs to know, is that as those ops were happening, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're continuing to pull these guys in. They're members of TDA. The one guy we pulled in was one of the ringleaders that you saw on the videos coming out of Aurora, Colorado. So that was one of the guys that we went and got, and he had just tried to purchase grenades that week and a gun buy. And I don't have any idea why you would need grenades in the United States of America.
Right.
And this individual came out of an apartment building, and as we're bringing him out, people walking by on the streets were walking by me and walking by our law enforcement officials and saying, thank you so much. And these community members, whatever you hear on the news, or ever how much time CNN or MSNBC or the liars on the network TVs make it sound like we're going after these poor innocent individuals, the people who have to live in the communities with these individuals, they are walking their children to school, and they're walking by us and saying, thank you. Thank you for being here and for doing this and getting these bad dudes off our streets.
And you know what was so pathetic, Madam Secretary? That the media was more concerned about what you were wearing than what you were doing.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Well, we were so busy the first few days, I didn't realize people were making fun of me until several days later.
You know what it is? They're jealous of you.
Well,
for sure.
I gotta tell you, when you're hanging out with guys with big guns and vests and stuff, it's not a bad day. That's kind of right up my alley. But the other thing that was important to me is they would, like, Border Patrol gave me their hat and their coat, and they wanted me to wear it and be proud of them.
Yes.
So when I wear their hats and their coats, and of course the vest was there for safety reasons, they know that I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of the job that they're doing. I'll tell you,